promised that nothing would break us, that we'd always find a way. When all was said and dust had settled, something didn't feel the same. We both know that this ship's going down. Let's get off and leave before we drown. There's nothing left for us to say, 'cause we'll see through. Save ourselves.
Rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Let's see. No other name has been associated with audio pain the same way that my name is associated with it. Anyways, I hope everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods as we are hanging out on this lovely Thursday, April the 14th of 2022, day 104 of the year, and only 261 days left to go. Can you envision that? Only 261 left before we get to the end of this show. And I'm talking about this shit show known as 2022. I mean, it was much better than 2021 so far and much better than 2020. But then if we start incorporating the inflation thing, I don't know. Matter of fact, I am not starting off on the most positive light now that I start thinking about this. Anyways, we are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And then we are hanging and banging with our friends at that other place that we do stuff with.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Oh, yes, Radio Big. I have to tell you, I'm so impressed that we are now part of the TuneIn family on the Radio Big side of the house. Not so much the Safety FM side of the house, but the Radio Big side of the house is definitely hanging out over there and doing the things that they get to do, which is quite, I'm pretty excited. So if you have not went over there, downloaded the TuneIn Radio app, I would encourage you strongly to do so. So if you're listening to what I'm doing currently, you could pause it. You could go back 30 seconds in time and then go back another 30 seconds and go back another 30 seconds. And then after you've listened to whatever was done prior to me being on here, you could fast forward it and get caught up until live stream. I was looking at it yesterday. I think I was all the way behind time or time swapped almost for like 2 hours, which I didn't think I could do, but I was actually able to do it. So there you go. Anyway, so let's start talking right away because it is important for us to get you the news source, the news info, and talk a little bit about everything that is going on inside of this mundo of ours. So let's not get too crazy as we are hanging, as we are banging, as we are moving, as we are grooving. So here we go. Here's what was trending in the overnight. I put down my phone, was trending on Twitter Wednesday. Tweets included to eat after taking a picture first and missed a hashtag never again. And still nobody called when my 4-year-old wants to play and only when I am about to sleep. Well, I mean, I think there should be some other times that you don't have your phone with you. Possibly when you're in the bathroom, but I don't think that would work for some. Probably when you're having sex, and eating would probably be another crucial one. So there you go, some things to think about. But then again, now that I think about it, there are some people that hang out with their phone when they are having sex. So maybe that's a whole other conversation. Did I not just take a weird turn? I kind of feel like it did.
Duh.
So there you go.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, the NFL fans reacted to Derek Carr's contract extension with the Las Vegas Raiders. What else did we see? Texas was trending yesterday as the first bus of migrants was dropped off just blocks from the Capitol in D.C., just as Governor Abbott promised. More in that. We'll talk a little bit more about that if we get swampy today. Frank James, the suspect in Tuesday's subway shooting, was trending on Wednesday after his arrest broke. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. I'm sure that my fellow news friends will talk about it as well, so don't worry about that portion, because that's what we do around here. We talk about what is going on inside of the news. I mean, I think you already know that, so don't worry about that particular portion. So what else? Let's continue talking. So we got that. We got the other. What else? So I guess we need to probably just talk about the layout of the land. This is what the land looks like. We are a radio station that does stuff on visual radio as well. So that's what this portion is if you're hanging out on our social media platforms. We seem to have a lot of people that hang out with the Twitch side of the house. So thanks for that, just for FYI purposes. And then, of course, we are on radiobig.fm. We are on safetyfm.com. We are on the apps. We are on TuneIn Radio. We are all over the place. So thank you for taking a stream, taking a listen to whatever the hell we have going on. So with that being said, let's keep this in mind. As we do move forward, we will be talking about the news and we will be talking about safety. And then we'll try to give you a big bow and a nice little package as we hand it back to you and say, here you go. I hope you enjoyed it. So there you go. That's all the stuff that we normally have going on. So with that being said, I think that it's time for us to start moving and getting towards the world of the news so we can start talking about what is going on inside of the news. So news, and it's a newscast with some other stuff that factors into some other things that have that other section of the other stuff. Boy, was that confusing. Huh? What did you just say? That's what I ask sometimes. I'm not even sure what I said myself. Think about that.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. Kentucky is now the first in the nation with no legal access to abortions. Lawmakers voted last night to enact a bill overriding the governor's veto last week. The new law includes a 15-week ban on abortion, forcing the state's 2 clinics to stop performing the procedure. Kentucky is also now at least 15th state with a transgender sports ban. Lawmakers voted yesterday to again override the governor's veto last week. He said the bill discriminates against trans children by stopping girls from playing on teams if they were born a boy. Dr. Anthony Fauci supports the CDC extending its mask mandate for air travel. More from Mike Bauer.
It isn't like things are static. Things are moving. We're seeing an increase.
Travelers will need to mask up on planes, trains, and buses through at least May 3rd because of an increase in COVID cases in the U.S. The 7-day moving average for coronavirus cases in the U.S. was nearly 30,500 on Monday, up 21% from the week before. Meanwhile, Airlines for America, the U.S. Travel Association, and 2 other business groups renewed their call for a repeal on the mask mandate. They say the rules no longer make sense given stable case trends, including falling hospitalizations, and are hurting travel demand.
Millions of people on the East Coast are bracing for some more severe weather today. Sam Brock reports this comes after storms left devastation across the Midwest and South.
I was just lucky that I didn't get sucked out.
The storm producing a lightning strike bonanza stretching 1,000 miles from Minnesota to the Gulf Coast, affecting 45 million people, while pumping out blizzards in North Dakota, twisters in Iowa.
Forecasters say the threat stretches from Maine down to Florida today and could bring heavy rain, high winds, and hail. The storm isn't expected to be as strong as what hit several central states this week. First death reported from yesterday's outbreak is a 20-year-old woman in Arkansas who got pinned under a tree that fell on her home. Ahead of the opening bell, Wall Street futures are mixed this morning. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
Feature story news in London. I'm Chris Jones. A large Russian warship in a port in Crimea has been seriously damaged. The governing council of the European Central Bank is meeting for the second time since the war in Ukraine began. Asylum seekers reaching the UK via the English Channel could be flown more than 4,000 miles away to Rwanda under new plans. And India's capital New Delhi reported a 50% increase in COVID-19 infections on Thursday.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
The Democratic National Committee is voting to end Iowa's status as the first state to hold a caucus or primary. Paul Rubidoux with the latest.
The DNC's Rules and Bylaws Committee decided yesterday to take away 4 state waivers for early nomination events. Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, and South Carolina all had exemptions allowing for primaries or caucuses before the rest of the country, but not any longer. Any state is now able to submit an application for early voting waivers to be reviewed and granted. The Iowa Democratic Party is saying they will argue their case to remain in the early voting window.
An American cryptocurrency expert will spend more than 5 years in prison for helping North Korea evade sanctions. Trey Thomas reports.
Federal prosecutors announced Wednesday that 39-year-old Virgil Griffith has been sentenced to 63 months in prison and fined $100,000 after pleading guilty last year. During a 2019 cryptocurrency conference in the North Korean capital Pyongyang, Griffith showed how North Korea could use blockchain and cryptocurrency technology to launder money and evade sanctions.
Russians who subscribe to Netflix are suing. They say the streaming giant's decision to block access due to the invasion of Ukraine is violating their rights as subscribers. The lawsuit is asking for about $725,000 in compensation. Alice Cooper is going to be all over Arizona.
I'm driving in my car now. I got you under my wheel.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Famer has lived in Arizona since he was a teenager, and this week the state legislature passed a bill creating a specialty license plate for him. It'll cost $25 more than a standard plate, and $17 will go to his nonprofit, the Alice Cooper Rock Teen Center. The nonprofit is free to those ages 12 to 20 and describes its mission as inspiring teens to grow through music, dance, and art. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You are listening to a renowned safety expert, Dr. Jay Allen, on Safety FM. Changing safety cultures, one broadcast and one podcast at a time. Join the fun on social media and find us on Facebook at Safety FM.
Okay, go find us everywhere, somewhere, something in between, somewhere in between, something offset, all that other kind of fun stuff that we would normally talk about, I guess. So there you go. Anyways, we are currently 17 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging and banging on this Holy Week, or should I say Semana Santa, or should I say on this Thursday? I don't know. What do I even say anymore? Let's just continue talking. Maybe let's go in that particular format. Anyways, if you're interested in getting into our little system today, all you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That is callinradio.com. That will get you in through our messaging system, get you moving and grooving right away as we get to hang and bang here as we are doing our thing together. Anyways, let's talk about it from what's going on inside of the world of the news, because some people care, want to know what is going on. So that is what we are here for, to discuss that information with you. Anyways, the primary suspect in Tuesday's New York City subway attack is now in custody. A tip to police early Wednesday suggested a 62-year-old Frank James had visited a McDonald's. When cops arrived, he was gone, but was spotted just a few blocks away. By yesterday, James had officially been charged with one count of violating 18 U.S.C. 1992 A7, which prohibits terrorist and other violent attacks against mass transit/transportation systems. He faces up to life in prison. He faces up to life in prison. It'll be interesting to see what exactly is going to come out of that one. We'll take a look at that as we are going through the news and moving forward. Anyways, a federal COVID mask mandate for transportation, including flights, train trips, and buses that get federal dollars, which is mostly all of them, will go another 15 days at least. Just 2 more weeks to flatten the curve. I guess that's one way to look at it as well. So there you go. Anyways, here's some and a good way to make a quick $1,500. Name somebody else's baby. New York Post profiles a 33-year-old woman named Taylor Humphrey. She charges expecting parents up to $1,500 to give their baby a name. In 2020, she provided the service to 100 families, raking in $150,000. Humphreys has no offspring of her own. So I want you to think about this real quick. I try to say to people all the time, there is a market for everything. Yes, and I mean a market for everything. This lady is charging $1,500 for the loveliness of me naming your child. I mean, that's essentially what she's doing. $150,000 is not a bad gig. I mean, you get 100 families who say, let me name your kid for you. Okay, give me $1,500. I mean, and I would imagine there is some majesty to it. Please tell me what you love. Tell me what you don't love. Tell me the things that make you happy. And then we go and name the child from there. I guess that's one way to do it if you take a look at it.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, NASA was awarded a contract to electric vehicle company Canoo to develop a crew transportation vehicles in the upcoming moon mission. They're expected to be delivered next summer. While images of the electric cars buzzing across the lunar surface it sounds exciting, these vehicles will only be responsible for shuttling the crew and some equipment to the launch pad. So hold on, you have something going on with Tesla, and that was not the option to go with. That's kind of a weird one. I mean, that's kind of a weird thing not to decide to go down. Just something to talk about real quick. Anyways, even with Amazon is feeling the sting of inflation starting April the 28th, all purchases made on Amazon will include a 5% fuel and inflation surcharge. Let me make sure that you heard that. Even Amazon is feeling the sting of inflation. Starting April the 28th, all purchases made on Amazon will include a 5% fuel and inflation surcharge. Meanwhile, in March, the cost of producer prices rose 11.2% year over year. If you're running a lemonade stand, this would mean that the cost of lemon cups, water, sugar went up by 10% year over year. Expect this metric to only worsen as the inflation is coming in the next few weeks. Boy, does that sound happy-go-lucky or what? Yeah, think about that. Maybe we should just do this. Let's bring in John Smalls. Let him tell us about what's going on inside of the market.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Thursday, April 14th, 2022. Equities rebounded Wednesday despite another round of bearish news that included the PPI data and earnings from JP Morgan Chase. The PPI data shows producer prices accelerating more than expected to the fastest pace on record. This data is sure to lead another increase in the CPI data next month or later in the year, which brings us to the JP Morgan Chase report. The company says it's bracing for increased economic risks, and we think it's a wise decision. The impact of what's happening in Ukraine are only beginning to show up in the data and results, and those impacts are not good. Rising fuel costs and disruptions to trade are only the tip of the iceberg and threaten to throw the global economy into a recession. The next hurdle for the market will come today with an earnings report from at least a half a dozen of the world's largest financial institutions. If they report more of what JP Morgan Chase reported, the market sell-off could resume with increased vigor. You can get the inside track at marketbeatminute.com.
You know, sometimes being happy-go-lucky is not as happy-go-lucky as it sounds. Think about that for a moment. I mean, sounds like some painful stuff is coming our way. Let's just be realistic on what it sounds like. Anyways, to continue talking, did you hear about this? Maybe we should talk about this. A woman attempted to glue herself to a basketball during an LA Clipper versus Minnesota Timberwolves game at the Target Center on Tuesday. After much confusion by everyone to what was going on, it was later revealed that the woman was attempting to protest animal rights. A fan escorted after attempting to glue themselves to the floor during a Clippers game. The funny part is that this clip is available online. I'll see if I can play some of this. Hold on. No sound.
A arena worker has fallen at the other end, and you can see right now.
So it's like a 2-minute and 5-second video. And what they were trying to do was glue themselves to the court itself. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not quote unquote, how can I even put this? It's not a Gorilla Glue scenario, just for the sake of saying it. But yeah, this is what I'm going to do is I'm going to retweet it out there, and I will put it on We Are Radio Big on Twitter. So if you want to come hang out, take a look at that, you're more than welcome on doing so. So I have added it over there right now, so that way you can go take a look, take a gander on what the hell was going on, because that is, just some stuff that is happening inside of this world. Anyways, let's get into some news and talk about that stuff, because that is why partially you are here, to come and hang and do all that stuff. Anyways, we were talking earlier this week about the doorman strike that was coming in New York, so let's talk about that. Unionized doormen say that they go on strike new week over health care and sick leave. Some of the wealthiest New Yorkers may soon have to take their own trash and pick up their own dry cleaning. Unionized doormen carry out the threats of what's going on because of healthcare-related issues. Noam Layden has more information.
Many who live in doormen buildings across the city say the workers are like family to them.
They really deserve something special. They've been working for 2 years through this pandemic while we all got to stay at home.
Members of the Building Workers Union unanimously authorized a vote to strike if no new contract is in place by next Wednesday. They say a plan by management to slash their vacation days and increase healthcare costs is just not fair. The head of the Doorman Union says there is still time to hammer out a deal. Noam Layden, NBC News Radio, New York.
Why wouldn't you use the term knock out a deal, Knock, knock, you get it? Anyway, so there you go. Hopefully something will come out of that relatively quick. Anyways, Musk bids to buy Twitter stock. Elon Musk is making an even bigger move to take control over Twitter. Rory O'Neill has more information.
Musk is all in, offering to buy 100% of Twitter at more than $54 a share. In a filing with the SEC, Musk says it is his best and final offer. The richest man in the world says he believes Twitter cannot thrive unless it is transformed into a private company. He ended his note to the Twitter chairman saying the company has extraordinary potential, promising, quote, "I will unlock it." I'm Rory O'Neill.
So, the problem here is that I do not like to live in the what ifs. Let's just be honest. I don't want to sit here and go, what if, coulda, shoulda, woulda, all that kind of fun stuff. But if you think of the potential, and we will talk potential, that this deal might actually have, it could become very, very interesting if Musk is to take control of Twitter and how that would actually work in the foreseeable future. Some things to think about when you start thinking about it. Anyways, red flag warning for Des Moines. The National Weather Service is saying that Des Moines and much of the central western Iowa is under red flag warning.
Generally, west winds 25 to 35 miles an hour sustained, with gusts of 50, even up to 55 miles an hour, and there may even be a few gusts that approach 60 miles an hour. So extremely strong winds today.
The National Weather Service meteorologist Craig Cogg says that winds are only going to be one part of the warning being issued. The National Weather Services say that relative humidity drops and dry times are here.
Relative humidities, especially in central and western portions of the state, are going to drop down to around 20 to 25%.
Let's see, what else? Coggle says the combination of gusty winds and more dry weather creates the perfect storm for fires to get out of control.
So the combination of those strong winds and the low relative humidities can really lead to dangerous fire conditions, especially if you have a fire that develops outside, can rapidly become out of control and spread, hence the red flag warning for those areas, including Des Moines.
Okay, Des Moines is also under a moderate wind advisory, which has led the red flag warning. I mean, it sounds like it's a total cluster with that going on as we are speaking. What else do I have for you? Here you go. Jury trial order for Palito versus Laundrie, a lawsuit. A jury trial has now been ordered in the lawsuit filed by Gabby Petito's parents against the parents of Brian Laundrie. Trey Thomas has more information.
The lawsuit claims Laundrie's parents knew that their son had murdered 22-year-old Gabby and were covering his tracks. If it isn't dismissed first, a jury trial in the case wouldn't actually begin until August of 2023. An attorney for the Laundries calls the Petito's claims baseless. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, so there you go. Some information on what's going on there. I think that's going to be a hard one to prove, but I'm sure that there will be something that comes out of it. Anyways, mask mandates revised for rising COVID cases across the nation. COVID cases have ticked up 24% from where they were 2 weeks ago. Mike Bowers has more information.
The U.S. is now averaging about 38,000 COVID cases a day. State by state, however, the picture is more mixed. Cases are rising in 25 states, falling in 16, and holding steady in 9 others. Cases are rising the fastest in the Northeast, thanks to the BA2 COVID variant. On Monday, Philadelphia became the first major city to announce the return to indoor mask requirements. Cases have climbed 50% there over the past 10 days. And 3 universities in the Washington, D.C. region, American, Georgetown, and Johns Hopkins, have partially reinstated campus mask mandates following an uptick in COVID cases there. I'm Mike Bauer.
Okay, thank you, Mike Bauer, for that one, letting us know what is going on inside of the mix of the things that are happening. Anyways, let me squeeze one more in, if you don't mind, as we are talking. Let's see. Let's talk about this real quick. MTA ridership down 5% following Brooklyn subway shooting. Tuesday's New York City subway shooting may be deterring folks from using the system. The MTA Jano Libraries ridership went down 5% after the shooting.
The subway is a special place in New York's heart. We're never going to let it be taken over by maniacs.
He's hoping that the arrest of the suspect of the subway shooting calms anxious riders concerned for their safety. After the shooting, Mayor Adams said that he would double the number of police officers patrolling the subway system. NYU professor of transportation, expert Sarah Kaufman, says that the arrest may not bring more confidence to the system right away.
There's a perception that it's a lot worse than it is, but that certainly has an impact.
Yeah, but here's where we start having that weird conversation that perception is reality. Oh, hold on. Did I get to oogly boogly there? No, seriously, did I? I think I did.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so it is 30 minutes past the top of the hour. Matter of fact, I have totally lied to you. It is 31 minutes past the top of the hour, so let's get moving and grooving, because it is that time to do that thing that we do during this time, and that is the thing that we call and we name the main story. And what is the main story for today? Well, I think it kind of ties into the world of the stuff that we need to talk about, because this is something that happens day in and day out and day over day over day over day over day. And what am I talking about? I am talking about living in the world of mixed messaging. You know, we can sit back today and we can talk about this, we can talk about that, we can do that, we can do the other, we can do whatever, but you are aware, as I am aware, that we have a lot of mixed messaging that goes on day in and day out. And what do I mean when I say that? Well, I mean the following thing right away. You know that you have programs, you have things that you have set up inside of your organization, but at times, depending on how you have it moving and grooving, it could be very, confusing. So let's talk about how you might be in an organization today that says that it is not important on, root cause analysis. It is not important of what the root cause is. And bear with me as I say this, because some people are going to be like, what do you mean it's not important? The root cause analysis is the most important thing that ever happened. Now, calm down. Here's what we're talking about. So, you know how sometimes you do root cause analysis, but the root cause analysis normally boils down to not an issue in the system. It is an issue with an employee, because that's what people think. And then all of a sudden, at the same time, too, you have a sign on the board that says, this is how many days we have went incident-free. And if we go up to X date, we are going to give everybody a barbecue. We are going to give everybody $1 million, whatever the hell it could say on the board. So, essentially, depending on how your organization is laid out, because on how that board reads, you are telling people that the injury is not the important portion. It is going injury-free that is the important part. Because let's talk about it. If we're 3 days away and I break my arm on the job site, am I going to be the person that ruins it for the whole damn bunch? Even though we do care for you as an employee, as a team member, that we want to make sure you're not injured, but all of a sudden we are going to reference this, and all of a sudden we reference it, but with the sake of, please don't ruin it for the rest of us, because that's what that sign says. And that's sometimes what happens. Also, when you're going through these transformational services, transformations inside of the organization, transformations of things changing inside of the world, then it becomes the world of the strange. It becomes that strange world where things are transforming, things are changing for you, but you default back when something goes wrong to how you used to do business. That's another sign of mixed messaging. So how do you get to be evenly yoked across the board? How do you get to the portion where you actually are able to pull off the same thing? Well, that's the problem. It's not as simple as it sounds. It's not as easy as it sounds. It's not like you could sit there and go, well, every day we're going to run this bad boy perfect. But that's where it gets important. It's trying to do the same thing over and over again. And let's not talk about going crazy because that's not the reference piece here. What the reference piece here is sometimes you have to retrain yourself. Sometimes you have to consistently read information that consists of the stuff that's important to you and the organization. So what am I talking about? Well, here's the thing. When you do coursework, when you do things that you are learning, you constantly read, refresh, retain new information or some of the information of the things that you're doing. The problem here, and I'm going to talk about this, and some people are probably not going to love this, the way that you are taught to do things in school, mostly in the U.S., is for memorization purposes for you to retain something for a short period of time. Yep, I did say that. Because think about it. Think about the tests that you took when you were in high school, when you were in college, when you were in elementary school, when you were in junior high, when you were in your master's program or your doctoral program. I mean, think about some of these things that you did that was for memorization purposes alone. There was no other reason for them. You did it for memory purposes. And the funny thing is there's so much information that we can go back to in time and talk about where you memorized it for something that was important. I mean, we can even talk about it in the general term of when you're acquiring a new client. If you do something where you acquire new clients, you want to memorize for that meeting the stuff that they would normally do for you to be able to have that discussion. I mean, is that not the reality of the whole scenario? Think about it. So if we start learning for the purpose of it being continuous learning, well, that's a little bit more important than learning for memorization purposes alone. Because listen, I can sit here and quote X, Y, and Z to you, but does it matter if I'm not putting it to practice daily? And that's the other problem. I can have a lot of knowledge about something, but if I don't put the 20% of the work into it, meaning, well, if 80% is the memorization of the stuff that I have memorized, and I don't use the 20% to actually put it into practical application, it serves me zero purpose. Zero purpose. Seriously. And that's the thing that we want to make sure that we are not doing with our team members, where we're giving them mixed messaging that it boils down to, hey, let's say that we're going to do this, but actually do that. That becomes a problem, don't you think? So think about that today, something to chew on for as we're going in closer into the weekend. By the way, don't worry, I'll be here on Good Friday. I am not vanishing yet, that is for sure. But then again, what the hell do I know about all this stuff? I'm just sitting here behind a microphone, aren't I?
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Well, you might be like me and heard all these terms and we're not 100% sure on what they meant. Things is mining, blockchain, the Internet of Things. Well, I will tell you, we here at Safety FM have partnered up with a company that will explain this to you and will also have conversations to inform you on how you might have the potential of making passive income by being involved with this. All you need to do is go to safetyfm.com/iHub. They'll discuss blockchain. What exactly is mining? What is cryptocurrency? And what is the Internet of Things? To find out more information, go to safetyfm.com/iHub. That's safetyfm.com/iHub. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. In
2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable. But how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, The Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
That nothing would break us, that we'd always find a way. When all was said and dust had settled, something didn't feel the same. We both know that this ship's going down. Let's get off and leave before we drown. There's nothing left for us to say, 'cause we'll see through. Let's save ourselves the courtesies, 'cause we'll see through. We both know how this thing goes. Should I leave or should you? There's nothing left for us to say, 'cause we'll see through.
Okay, there you go. There you go. That is See Through by Alyo. This song's readily available on Spotify and iTunes. All you have to do is go to Spotify and iTunes to be able to download it. See Through. Thank you to Alyo for letting us play this one here. Always some good stuff as we are hanging and banging, doing all that kind of fun stuff. Anyways, let's get the hell out of here with that one real quick. Nothing against it. I like it. But we're running out of time. It is 44 minutes past the top of the hour. So let's do some other things relatively quickly here as we are hanging as we are doing. Anyways, let me tell you the most important thing that I will tell you at any point during any of our shows as we get to hang out together and do the things that we do. Let me tell you about my friends at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Whether you have struggled with suicide yourself or have lost a loved one, know that you're not alone. Hear about personal experience from people in your local community whose lives have been impacted by suicide and depression. To find out more information, all you have to do is call 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255, or text the word TALK to 741-741, or you can go to their website at afsp.org. So there you go. Thank you very much. I think it's important. It's something that we should talk about all the time, and something that you can find out information on how you can help with a local chapter if you're so inclined to do so. Anyways, I told you that I would give you some more information on some things going on inside of the world. Let's touch some of the swampiness right now real quick. The first shuttle bus from Texas to Washington, D.C. carrying illegal immigrants arrived in destination on Wednesday morning, just blocked from the Capitol. Texas Governor Greg Abbott announced the busing program after the White House announced plans to repeal a measure that kept illegal immigrants outside of the U.S. border amid the ongoing COVID pandemic. The change is expected to supercharge an already not a really good system at the border. So worth asking, why is the pandemic situation so dangerous that Americans must continue to wear masks on airplanes but not screen hundreds of thousands of people crossing the border to the new variants of infection? This comes from the reporter who actually wrote the thing, so there is a question to ask for us to talk about. Anyways, a winning Mega Million ticket was sold in Minnesota. The winner has the option of a $106 million jackpot or a $64.5 million cash payout. Friday's drawing will be for $20 million jackpot or a $12.1 million cash payout. So there you go. There you go. So what is this? What is this? Gilbert Gottfried's Twitter account was allegedly hacked just hours after his family announced the death on the platform. The late comedian bio was changed from hacked to an IG account, and several bizarre tweets were shared. The most disturbing one was that read, "I'm dead because of blah blah" on IG. Fuck that motherfucker. Wow, that's terrible. Followers called out the disgusting and disrespectful act. Twitter, meanwhile, told Rolling Stone that they're looking into the situation. Well, I guess that changes things relatively quick when we start talking and looking at some of that stuff. So I don't know. This makes you kind of think about some weird things right away as we are talking. Anyway, so let's talk about some other stuff that is going on inside of this world real quick. I think after listening to something like that, it might be time to bring in the Motivation Minute with Johnny Smalls.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Donnie. Robert M. Hensel said, "Now I look beyond what I can't do and focus on what I can." That is great advice. I remember talking with an older gentleman early in my career. He said something along the lines of, "I could spend the afternoon telling you 100 ways not to get something done, or we could talk about the few ways I know to get it done. Which one makes more sense to you?" Now, I paraphrase because some of the words he actually said are not welcome on the radio. But the point stuck with me all these years. Focus on the goal and what you need to do to get there. Nothing else really matters. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlessaMorgan.com. RDA, or Recommended Dietary Allowances, are the levels of intake of essential nutrients that are estimated by the FDA to be adequate to meet the known nutrient needs of practically all healthy persons. However, according to a large number of medical experts, these recommendations may not always be optimal. For example, the RDA for protein is 0.36 grams per pound. This amounts to 54 grams per day for a 150-pound person. A large number of doctors who specialize in longevity and nutrition insist that this amount of protein is enough to survive, but not to thrive. And the optimal amount of protein is 1 gram per pound of body weight. eating enough protein and gaining muscle mass through strength training is not just essential for a longer life, but also for a better quality of life. For additional information, check out alessamorgan.com.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
So if you've been hanging out on Radio Big as of late, you might have noticed that right before our show here, we have a whole hour related to wellness with Wellness Reset. Alessa Morgan doing the show between, let's see. If we went through the Eastern time zone, it's between 6 and 7 a.m. Eastern time. So you're more than welcome to coming out and hanging out as she gives you some tips and plays some music and all that kind of fun stuff if you want to take a listen to that. So there you go. Anyways, it is 50 minutes past the top of the hour. So what does this mean for you and I? It means we are running out of time. So let's talk about it. New food for you. Burger King has an all-new condiment on the menu. The fast food chain introduced peanut butter sauce. It's not an ice cream topping. It's a pairing for peanut butter stackers and peanut butter fries. Currently now available in South Korea. Burger King peanut butter sauce is made with a combination of creamy peanut butter and brown cheese. The sauce is one of the numbers of the chain's new menu items, as the peanut butter stackers, which begins the 2 beef patties topped with mayo, pickles, cheese, and new peanut butter sauce. All of the ingredients and sandwiches in between sesame seed bun. Can I get jelly on that as well? I mean, maybe that's the question. Anyways, another thing going on, Baskin-Robbins is making some changes. The 77-year-old ice cream shop is not only tweaking its logo, employee uniform, and packaging update around the brand, it also plans to sell merch, including bikes, scrunchies, bucket hats, from an online store for the first time. And the company is unveiling some new flavors. One non-dairy mint choco chunk, another totally on-route made with peanut butter and chocolate ice cream caramel swirls, fudge-covered pretzels, and fudge and caramel-covered peanuts. They called the one deconstructed candy bar. The third flavor, Ubi Coconut Swirl, is made with coconut oob ice cream. Oob is a purple yam commonly used for Filipino desserts, and they didn't even consider calling it I Yam What I Yam, or My Yammy, or Sam I Yam. Someday, somebody stop me, if you know what I'm saying, as I say all that junk.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Okay, a Florida man had a creative excuse for speeding Russian President Vladimir Putin. The unidentified driver was pulled over at Palm Coast for allegedly running a stop sign and going 50 miles an hour in a 30-mile-per-hour zone. Body cam footage shows that the Florida man giving a duty number for a deputy a number of reasons why he was speeding, including that he was trying to get out of sports mode. Finally, he tells the cops that he claims to be the truth. I found out that Putin just said that he's going to launch a nuclear thermal war against the world, and I was trying to get back to my house to find out what's going on. I'm freaking out. The traffic stop took place on February the 24th. The same day that Putin launched the invasion on the Ukraine, the driver was issued 2 tickets. Wow, dude, congrats on the blame Putin on one of the things that can't be blamed on Putin. So there you go. San Francisco police were faced with a new challenge after stopping a vehicle with no one inside. In a video posted on Instagram, officers approached the car operated by a driverless taxi company called Cruise because it had been driving without the headlights on. A cop remarks that ain't nobody in it before the car moved forward, appearing to take off. Cruise later explained that it was pulling ahead to a safer location. The company also explained that the headlights issue was a result of human error. How is it the driverless car can also be so much like being driven by a drunk person? So isn't that funny? That there is no human in the car, but it is still a human error that the headlights were not on. Like, seriously. I mean, like, out of all the things to say that was the issue, the human error consisted that there was no driver in the car. So I guess the no driver didn't turn the headlights on, which would cause it to be a human error when it wasn't really a human error, something to really think about.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. Here's trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's start talking about this. Let's talk about, because the travel industry is getting busier and busier as we get closer. So let's talk about some of the areas that you want to avoid if all possible. The world's busiest airports in 2021. Let's talk about the ones that are on the list from 10 to 1, 1 to 10. So let's go from there. At number 10 was Las Vegas with 39.8 million passengers, up by 79%. Chengdu, China, 40.1 million passengers, down 1.5%. Another place in China for 40.3 million, down 8%. Orlando International Airport, 40.4 million, up 87%. Charlotte, CLT, 43.3 million, up 59%. Los Angeles, 48 million passengers, up 67%. Let's see. Chicago O'Hare, 54 million passengers, up 75%. Denver, 58.8 million passengers, up 74%. Dallas Fort Worth is 62.5 million passengers, up 59%. And the Atlanta airport, 75.7 million passengers, up 76% from 2020. The Atlanta International Airport is once again the world's busiest after being knocked off the number one spot passenger volume from the China airport. The Georgia Transportation Hub held the top spot for 22 years prior to the pandemic. So there you go. So if you're looking for some places to avoid, I think I know of one that you should avoid, if all possible, because of how busy it is, unless you like the busyness and the hustle and bustle of the world. So there you go. Anyway, so let's talk about some other things. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 2018, Beyonce becomes the first black woman to headline Coachella Music Festival. Her performance was one of the most viewed performances on YouTube's live stream. That happened back in 2018. If you're looking at some birthdays for today, let's talk about some of those that are going on real quick. Getter turns 29. Graham Phillips, 29. Chris Wood, 34. Sarah Michelle Gellar turns 45. Amy Dumas turns 47. Anderson Silva, 47. DeBrat turns 48. Adrian Brody turns 49. Anthony Michael Hall turns 54. Robert Carley turns 61. Brad Garrett, 62. Peter Catalpi turns 64. Bobby Brown, the makeup artist, just in case, turns 65. Pete Rose turns 81. And Loretta Lynn turns 90 today. That's all birthdays that are going on from the celebrity standpoint, if you cared about that. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, I have a few of those for you. Look up at the Sky Day, National Dolphin Day, National Ex-Spouse Day. What do you do for your ex-spouse on that day? I mean, that might be an interesting one. National Gardening Day, National Pan American Day, National Pecan Day, and National Reach as High as You Can Day. I don't know how high that's supposed to be. I guess I'm slightly confused. So there you go. Those are some days that you can celebrate if you're so inclined to do so. Anyways, let's round it off because it is 57 minutes past the top of the hour, so let's go through this relatively quick. If you need a random joke for today, I have one of those for you. Easter egg hunts are proof that your children can find things when they really want to. Golf is just the adult version of an Easter egg hunt. If you need a phone starter for today, try this one. What's your best true family meal gone wrong story? If you need something for the water cooler, try this. When it comes to Easter candy, 3 out of 4 people do this. What is it? Bite out the chocolate bunny ears first. So there you go. If you need another one, you can try this one. According to a survey, 55% of us don't do this often. We probably should because we are afraid of it. What is it? Check our bank account. Really? You're afraid to check your bank account? How else would you know how you're going on your budget? I mean, I don't know. Something weird to think about, I guess, as we are talking about it. Anyways, at the top of the hour here in the next few minutes, I will be going over to RadioBig.fm exclusively. So if you're hanging out on this side of the house, you're more than welcome on coming over with us. Keep it in mind that if you do stay on Safety FM, it's perfectly fine. We will give you some more safety stuff. If you want to come to the radio side, meaning listening to some music and some stuff like that, talking about some other things that are going on, you can come over to RadioBig.fm to do that because that is no problem there. Anyways, thank you for being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener. Without you, we could not do what we do around here. If I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. Easter is the only time when it's perfectly safe to put all eggs in one basket. Kinda. Think about it in that fashion. Anyways, I know who you are. No, seriously.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
Nothing would break us, that we'd always find a way. When all was said and dust had settled, something didn't feel the same. We both know that this ship's going down. Let's get off and leave before we drown. There's nothing left for us to say, 'cause we're see through. Let's save ourselves the courtesy.